All knowledge failed, and ideas formed, and wisdom screened in awe her lowly head, feeling it was too great for thought or speech, formless, ineffable, forever the same. And innocent and holy ignorance. See, this is beauty. Night of God, it is a night of innocence. Night of God is a holy ignorance. Very desirable, very beautiful night of God. This night of God is a very innocent ignorance, very holy ignorance. In fact, we have in this particular passage, we shall see them, number of phrases like that. Night of God, innocent ignorance, holy ignorance. Then we have got purity of emptiness. We'll see that phrase shortly. Purity of emptiness. See, emptiness itself has a purity quality. Purity of emptiness. Naked self, nothing, nothing. No pride of force. Herself was nothing. Then we have got a phrase, sacred darkness, holy ignorance, night of God, sacred darkness. See, the darkness can be sacred. Yes, that is desirable because all my outer faculties have no meaning there at all. They better go away. Sacred dark, night of person. And then he says, holy stillness. It is stillness, quiet, it is holy. Nothing is disturbing there at all. These are the phrases which are coming here repeatedly in this context, in this night of God. Night of the soul, la noche oscura del alma. That is Spanish phrase. Now, this is the experience of St. John of the Cross. 16th century saint. Now he says, of course, he says, dark night of the soul. He talks of the dark night of the soul. Whereas here we have got sacred night, holy night, beautiful darkness. Now what does he say? It narrates the journey of the soul from its bodily home to its union with God. The journey is called the dark night because it is passing through a dark phase. Dark night, because darkness represents the hardships and difficulties of the soul. Hardships and difficulties of the soul. Now, Savitri is not concerned with the hardships and difficulties of the soul. Her night is of a different quality altogether. She has already conquered that. She is beyond that, you see. So, it is not that the struggle of the sage, the struggle of the devotee, the struggle of the spiritual aspirant. It is not that at all. It is a much advanced stage of everything getting stopped. Hardship and difficulties of the soul mean the detachment from the world and reaching the light of the union with the Creator. There are several steps in this night which are related in successive stanzas of that poem. The main idea of the poem can be seen as a painful experience that people endure as they seek to grow in spiritual maturity. So, to grow in spiritual maturity, you have to go through the painful experience. Savitri is not that case at all at this stage, at this point, you see. The poem is divided into two books, etc., etc. The first is the purification of the senses. The second and more intense of the two steps is that of the purification of the spirit, which is a good thing. Purification of the spirit, which is the less common of the two. Dark night of the soul further describes the steps, 10 steps of the ladder of mystical love. That is the experience of St. John of the Cross. We'll skip that. Silent night, holy night, silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild. Well, he's singing the song of that, you see. This is a famous lyric of that, you see, the night of dark. The dark night is a profoundly good thing. It is an ongoing spiritual process in which we are liberated from attachment and compulsions and empowered to live and love more freely. Well, that is it. Sometimes this letting go of old ways is painful. Obviously, you are in love with your own personality, your own things and all that thing. You don't want to give them at all, you see. It's very painful to detach from them. Occasionally even devastating. But this is not why the night is called dark. The darkness of the night implies nothing sinister, only that the liberation takes place in hidden ways. It is a good experience, it's a nice experience. Beneath our knowledge and understanding, it happens mysteriously, in secret, and beyond our conscious control. So Shebendra is using now that phrase night of God in the context of Savitri when all her surface faculties have ceased to exist. It is a kind of a blank for her. She can't see anything at all. Only when that blank is there, she can then see the light of her soul. That is the night of God. Now, in one of his letters, Shivandu was asked something about D.H. Lawrence, the British novelist, the author of Lady Chatterley's Lover, D.H. Lawrence. Now, apropos of that, Shivandu said, I suppose Lawrence was a yogi who had missed his way and come into a European body to work out his difficulties. To work out his difficulties. To lapse back into darkness and unknowing, sounds like the Christian mystics passing into the night of God. That is what it means. This is what we are seeing now in the case of St. John. Sounds like the Christian mystics passing into the night of God. But I think Lawrence thought of a new efflorescence from the subconscious, something coming from below. While the mystic's night of God was a stage between ordinary consciousness and the superconscious light. So the Christian mystic's night of God is described here. The mystic's night of God was a stage between ordinary consciousness and the superconscious light, our surface consciousness and the higher light. This was a letter written by Shivandu on 26 June 1936. And then here it says, this is a very beautiful letter. The passage you have quoted certainly shows that Lawrence had an idea of new spiritual birth. From the subconscious, something rising and showing up. What he has written, there could be a very accurate indication of the process of the change, the putting away of the old mind, vital, physical. That is what Savitri is doing, old mind, away of the old mind, vital, physical, and the emergence of a new consciousness. That is what happens. For the emergence of new consciousness, you have to pass through the night of God. You have to pass through the night of God. From the now invisible within, not an illusionary periphery like the present mental, vital, physical ignorance, but a truth becoming from the true being within. Lawrence speaks, of the transition of a darkness created by the rejection of the outer mental light. Outer mental light is rejected, and therefore there is darkness. A darkness intervening before the true light from the invisible can come. Certain Christian mystics have said the same thing, and the Upanishad also speaks of the luminous being beyond the darkness. That is what Savitri is going to experience now. You will be beyond darkness. He speaks of the transition as a darkness created by rejection, etc. But in India, the rejection of the mental light, the vital stir, the physical hard, narrow concreteness is more often not to a darkness, but to a wide emptiness and silence. That is the spiritual aspect of it. Wide emptiness and silence, which begins afterwards to fill with the light of a deeper, greater, truer consciousness. So the whole phrase is here. The whole description is here. Rejection of the mental light, the vital stir, the physical hard, narrow concreteness, but a wide emptiness and silence which begins afterwards to fill with the light of a deeper, greater, truer consciousness. A consciousness full of peace, harmony, joy, freedom. Now that is what we will do. Means from this night of God, Savitri is shortly going to pass into the day of God. The day of God is deeper, greater, truer consciousness. A consciousness full of peace, harmony, joy and freedom. She is going to step into the day of God shortly now. And then about Lawrence, he says, I think Lawrence was held back from realizing because he was seeking for the new birth in the subconscious, new birth for the subconscious. Now, this is something really remarkable. This only a yogi can attempt. New birth in the subconscious. And therefore, Sri Aurobindo says that he was a yogi who was misled, went astray from his path. And in order to get that realization, it was necessary for him to take birth in a European body. He became an Englishman. How that happens, we'll see about that. He mistook life for spirit, whereas life can only be an expression of the spirit. That too perhaps was the reason for his preoccupation with vain and baffled sexuality, because he was misled. That is what we have in his novel, Lady Chatterley's Lover, you see. Baffled sexuality. But it's a very pure, beautiful novel, I must say that. Although the descriptions to an ordinary mind may look very lurid, but there is a kind of beauty in that, as sort of a yogic detachment from what he is describing. He has got an object and he is describing that object without in any way getting emotionally attached to the object. He can stand away from that. A kind of a nishkama bhava is there, as you have got in the paintings of Monet. Monet has that quality. See, Monet's wife is lying in the bed, dead, and this man goes to his studio and makes a painting of her. That kind of emotional detachment in that intense moment is something which gives rise to the beauty of the art, the trueness of the art. It's sort of a nishkama bhav is there. You can detach totally yourself emotionally from everything and then express your object properly. That kind of feeling you get when you read Lawrence, Lady Chatterley's Lover, you see. Well, we'll see that thing again later on. We'll see later on. All knowledge failed and the ideas forms. You see, idea has a form, definiteness. Ideas form. Awe and wisdom screened in awe her lowly head, feeling it was too great for thought or speech, formless, ineffable, forever the same, and innocent and wholly ignorant, adored like one who worships formless God. Now, this is something absolutely remarkable. Can you really worship formless God? You want a murti, you want an image, you want some statue in front of you to worship. But without form, Brahman, without any form, how you worship? To offer worship to a formless God is more difficulty than offer worship to God with form. The unseen lights you could not claim nor own. In a simple purity, you see again, simple purity or purity of emptiness. I was telling you one of the phrases. Purity of emptiness. Her mind knelt down before the unknowable. Before the unknowable, she is kneeling down, offering herself, surrendering herself totally to the unknowable. Now this before the unknowable is what we have got, worshipping the formless God. Worshipping the formless God is surrendering to the unknowable. All was abolished save her naked self, again naked self, and the prostrate yearning of a surrendered heart. So that is the kind of a surrender required. First, all your mental faculties, vital faculties, everything should cease to exist. You should enter first into the night of God and then surrender yourself to the one who is seated in you. Then only you will be able to approach your soul. Not until then, see. And the prostrate yearning of a surrendered heart. There was no strength in her. Yes, she has surrendered herself with the strength now. Even whatever strength she had, Lord, it is yours. It is yours. It is yours. The lofty burning of desire has sung. So it is not the desire. I want to be great yogi. I want to be Superman. I want to help mankind. I want to bring out transformation in this creation. That desire, gone, gone, gone. No, I don't want that. You do what you want. I am going to surrender to you. I am going to be your instrument. You can use me as your instrument and do whatever you want me to do, not me. That desire has gone completely. The lofty burning of desire had sung, a shame, a vanity of separate self, the hope of spiritual greatness. That is what happens now, spiritual greatness. Salvation she asked not, nor a heavenly crown. Give me beauty, give me joy, give me happiness. Let the bird of paradise sing in my garden. I don't want even that. If it doesn't want to sing, let him come and sing. I am not going to ask for that, you see. Herself was nothing. God alone was all. Herself was nothing. God alone was all. Now this is something remarkable, you see. She has already that realization. Yet God she knew not, but only knew He was. There is something in her, some kind of a deeper perception in her, which tells her that God is there. A sacred darkness, again, you see that phrase, sacred darkness, brooded now within. The world was a deep darkness, great and new. This void held more than all the teeming worlds. Yes, that is the beauty of this void. That is the mystic nature of this void. It is empty, it is shunya, it is zero, it is cipher, but that cipher is holding everything in it. All the contents are there in it. Because who is that cipher? Who is that zero? Who is that emptiness? It is He Himself who is that emptiness. Because it is He who is emptiness, therefore that in He everything is there. All the worlds are there. Who is void? He is void. He is there. This blank felt more than all that time has borne. This dark knew dumbly, immensely the unknown. But all was formless, voiceless, infinite. As might a shadow walk in a shadowy scene. Now imagine shadow in the darkness, a shadow itself is walking. Shadow itself is walking. Is more difficult than a dream walking in a dream. A dream can easily walk in a dream. But a shadow walking in a shadow, in a darkness, that is what she is. She has become shadow because she has nothing now in her. And everything is blank, void. And to that void she is walking. This is mystic poetry. This void held more than all the teeming world. This blank felt more than all that time has borne. This is zero which contains every moment of time, every action of time. Whatever time has performed, everything is contained in the zero. This is dark, new, dumbly, immensely the unknown. But all was formless, voiceless, infinite. As mighty shadow walk in a shadow is seen, a small knot passing through a mightier knot. So it is a small shunya passing through a bigger shunya, small zero passing through a bigger zero. A night of person in a bare outline crossing a fathomless impersonal night. Fathomless impersonal night. That is the big knot. That is the big knot. He is crossing through that impersonal night. The night of the unknowable. It has no form, no individuality. Silent, she moved, empty and absolute. That is what she is doing, climbing up like that. Silent, she moved, empty and absolute. In endless time, her soul reached a wide end. The spaceless vast became her spirit's place. So this is the time aspect of it. This is the space aspect of it. Through space and time, how she, through endless time, in spaceless vast, how she is going through space and time, towards the goal. A last change approached. So while she is passing through the night of God, this last change. A last change approached. The emptiness broke. A wave rippled, some kind of movement is there, stir is there. Within the world had stirred. Once more, her inner self became her space. She has become now aware of her inner self while she is going through that path. There was felt a blissful nearness to the goal. Yes, here it is now. The altar on which the flame is burning. The mystic cave is there now in front of me. There was felt a blissful nearness to the goal. Heaven leaned low to kiss the sacred hill. See the sacred hill. She says, no, on an altar, sacred hill, stone. And again, sacred hill. The air trembled with passion and delight. A rose of splendor on a tree of dream. So she has passed through night. She has passed through dreams. She is now approaching dawn. The dawn, when the moon is still visible in the sky. Twilight grew. Day came, a priest of sacrifice, of joy, into the worshipping silence of the world. He carried a mortal luster. You see, this is what we have been seeing. He carried a mortal luster as his robe, trailed heaven like a purple scarf and wore as his vermilion caste mark, a red sun. This is what we have seen, that red sun on the vermilion caste.